All right, so BengalsWire.com posted all the free agents for this upcoming year for the Cincinnati Bengals, and then they posted the market value and, of course, the average salary of what they're going to get if they do go ahead and leave our team, right? To kind of get a general gist of what we're going to have to pay some of these players if they do hit free agency, or us trying to work out contracts before they hit free agency. So let's go ahead and break this down. Starting off right away, the first player is Jake Browning. Now, Jake Browning is not going to leave. Jake Browning is a EFA. EFA stands for exclusive restricted free agent. Pretty much how that breaks down to is that if we are going to tender him for a pick, tendering a player for a pick pretty much means that we put him out there and say, hey, listen, if anyone wants him, you got to give us whatever pick we choose. A second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, whatever pick. And if no one gives us a pick for him, then we sign him back to a $750,000 contract for 1 year. This is exactly what the Ravens did. Ravens did last offseason with Tyler Huntley. They tendered him for a third-round pick. Because nobody signed him, or nobody traded them a third-round pick and signed him, then they got him back for $750,000. That's the same similar concept that we're going to see here with Jake Browning, is that he can be tendered for a pick, but if he does not get, any interest from other teams, he will come back to the Bengals for $750,000, and yeah, that's kind of where we're standing there. Now, of course, BengalsWire.com is going to post a projected market value and annual salary for every single player. So they said if he did hit free agency, he would probably get in the ballpark range of $5.2 million a year, which would roughly be $10.4 million for 2 years. But they do go ahead and correct themselves right here by saying Browning is a exclusive rights free agent. So he's not going anywhere, but this is a projection provided. So again, like I said, he could technically be going somewhere, depending on if somebody is willing to pay for him on their team. So, that's number one, okay? We're going to bring back Jake Browning. I'll be honest with you, it would be a little bit more difficult with the aspect of how the season ended. If we would have won every single game the last end of the season and made the playoffs and won a playoff game, things would be a lot different. But because of how the season ended, Jake Browning's not going anywhere. We're going to keep him. Tyler Boyd. Now, to be honest, I think TB can get himself a pretty damn good contract if he does go ahead and leave us. And I fully expect him to leave us. I think Tennessee has plenty of money in their cap. Brian Callahan would love to have Tyler Boyd down there to play for him. So I would not be surprised if he leaves us and goes straight over to Tennessee. Again, wherever he goes, I'm going to root for him. He wants to go to Pittsburgh. He wants to go to Pittsburgh. And that's going to be ugly. So, according to BengalsWire.com here, they did go ahead and say that his average salary is around $8.7 million, which is way too much for us to pay for him, in all honesty. We can't pay that much for a receiver, especially with the fact that we're going to be franchise tagging T for a 1 year, $25 million contract, or $19 million, depending on exclusive, non-exclusive tag. There's no way we can afford to pay another receiver here $8.7 million, especially not when we just drafted Yoshi, we just drafted Chuck Sizzle, and both of those guys are going to be the heir replacement for Tyler Boyd. 3 year, $26 million is what they're projecting he will get. As it says right here, Boyd might be the third option in Cincinnati, but he's functioning as a number one in the past and figures to land somewhere in the middle if another team goes after him. And I think that, again, as I said many times, he's going to go to Tennessee. I think they're going to have DeAndre Hopkins on one side, Tyler Boyd on the other side, D.D. Westbrook in the middle, and they're going to be a pretty damn solid offense. So I wouldn't be surprised if he even gets more money than this. I was kind of thinking that he might, depending on where he lands at free agency, he might get up to $10 million a year. So I wouldn't be surprised. We're not going to bring him back. DJ Reader, this is the expensive one. This is the very, very expensive one. And I know I said before that, it's possible that we could maybe get him like a team-friendly discount. I don't think we're going to now that I look more into things. But $14.9 million a year, I think he can get even more than that, in all honesty, if he hits free agency. Especially, yes, he's coming off an injury. Yes, he's 30 years old. But as you get older at the D tackle position, you just get better. You just get better. We've seen so many D tacklers. Fletcher Cox is a great example of this, where the older he gets, the better he gets. Offensive line, defensive line. They age like fine wine. The older, the better. So, average annual salary, they have it at $14.9 million. And a 3-year contract of $44.75. It's going to be interesting, right? Because DJ Reader is definitely in a situation that no free agent wants to be in. He is coming off of a second time having a torn quad, this time in the other leg, which really sucks because last time it took him a year and a half to recover, and it's usually around a year recovery injury. So he's not going to be ready for free agency. He's not going to be ready for training camp, and he's probably going to be out for the first part of the season. So if he does go ahead, and I fully think he'll recover from this, don't get me wrong, but the problem is, whatever team he's going to go with, he's going to have to recover with them and then eventually come back after that, and we'll have to wait and see where he ends up going. But I think he will get around 15, 16 million. And yeah, he's going to get paid, man. He'll go get paid. Note that DJ Reader is one of the toughest projection in the league after his torn quad that will hold him out until next season. This seems close to normal value where he might settle for a prove-it deal now. That's another thing that I was thinking as well, is he might take a 1-year prove-it deal, and he might take a 1-year prove-it deal with us. You never know. And so it won't be a 1-year 14.9. It might be like a 1-year, especially coming back from injury, a 1-year maybe 11 million. And then he will try to get big money the year after that. Jonah Williams. Ooh, I don't know how much Jonah would. See, the thing is, right? Jonah, first time at right tackle. So I don't think many teams are going to hold that against him. But going into this process of him being right tackle, a lot of GMs and, higher ups were saying that they don't believe he could be left tackle or right tackle. They were saying maybe at guard because he didn't have long arms. So that's definitely something that, is going to hurt him. But I think with the fact that the tackle free agents class is very weak this year, it's going to help him a lot, especially the right tackle free agent class. And let's be honest, every single team needs a tackle. Well, not every single team, but I'm saying a lot of teams need them. Projected market value, $43.4 million, 4-year contract, $10.8 a year. Yeah, honestly, even if you're not really that good, I feel like you're still going to be in the 8 to 10 million range. Especially because Jonah is young. He's not older. And again, like I said, when I say offensive lineman, you're not really old until you're 35 years old. But yeah, no, I think he could definitely, he could go to a team that is desperate need for a right tackle who really needs something in there. And they could say, well, you know what, maybe he wasn't successful in Cincinnati because of the fact that Cincinnati, Frank Pollock or, Joe went down. So there's going to be all these excuses why a team's probably going to find themselves, overpaying for Jonah. And yeah, we'll draft our franchise right tackle and we're kind of going from there. T. Higgins. Now, T. Higgins, again, will be franchise tagged, so this isn't really accurate, but $18.6 million. I don't believe this is in any way correct. Franchise tag would set the Bengals back $21.7 million over one season. Now, this is, I don't know if this is correct, because the exclusive franchise tag this year is $19 million. The non-exclusive, so exclusive is $25 million. The non-exclusive is $19 million. And how you get the exclusive tag, by the way, is you go ahead and you add up the top 5 salaries at the wide receiver position, divided by 5, and that's how you get $25 million. That's the exclusive. Now, the non-exclusive is actually 19, and that was according to NFL.com as of around 2-3 weeks ago. So unless it changed to 21.7, which, again, listen, they do change the market values. I think this might just be a typo, or it might be $2 million off. But again, 19, I think it's like 19.7 or 19.5 or something. So it's not that far off. But I will say that if he did go and get paid 4 years, $74 million, I do not believe T. Higgins, if he hits free agency, he will not get this much money. I think he'll get way more money than this. I think if he hits free agency, T. Higgins will most likely get a 5-year, $100 million contract, fully guaranteed. And I think that's 1,000% the fear if you're Cincinnati right now, is because you know if he hits free agency, he's going to get that no matter what. I don't care what team is out there, who you think is not going to be interested, who's going to be interested. T is going to be a hot commodity, and that's just how it works. He's young. He's a great receiver. He's a top 15 receiver in this league. And when he's healthy, he's unstoppable. So my projection is they're going to franchise tag him for 1 year. They're going to try to figure out the contract. The goal of T. Higgins here is not to get him on that franchise tag going into the season. What I mean by that is you have a franchise tag window. You give him the franchise tag, right in the beginning of March. You have from that March period all the way to July, mid-July, to work out a contract. After a certain point in July, I think it's 23rd, 24th, then you're kind of fluffed. You're up shit's creek without a paddle, as they would say, because then that player is going to sign a 1-year contract for franchise tag, and you cannot work out a long-term contract. I know this is weird, but with franchise tags after July 23rd, from that point to the new year, you cannot, or to the new franchise tag year, you cannot work out a contract. It does not matter if the player says, you know what, I liked your contract you gave me a month ago. It doesn't matter. You cannot work out a contract. After that said time, it's talks are done, conversation's over, you're franchise tagged. So they're going to try to get a contract done in that time period. I'm expecting them to be very aggressive with trying to get a contract done. So we'll see what ends up happening. But my guess is, and if you got to realize that his agent is the same agent as Deshaun Watson's. And yeah, the $236 million fully guaranteed, I promise you, he's going to want very similar to that. And not the full 250, not 236, but $100 million fully guaranteed. And I posted my community tab yesterday, Mike Evans, who's 31 years old. He has been very blunt now. He wants 25 to 30 million going into free agency. And when T sees that and his agent sees that, hey man, this receiver who is way older than you, and yes, Mike Evans is amazing, don't get me wrong, but he's way older than you, and when you're fully healthy, you could be on the same level as him, and you have a quarterback fully healthy, he wants 25, 30 million. I think getting T at 20 million for 5 years is almost a steal. And that's how his agent and his, how he's going to think. And that's the problem. You can't really go into a conversation when this guy's like, hey, I want this money. Chase is about to go get 28, 30 million. Jay Jettis, Justin Jefferson's going to get 30 million. And now you have T coming in and saying, hey, man, I want what they're getting. And it becomes a mess, man. It becomes a mess. But tell me down below your thoughts, opinions, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.